It's the Daily Kebab. Greetings, Muttonistas, back in the old town, or the old quarter of Gaziantep in southeastern Turkey. After a 2-day football drought, which, to be honest, I kind of needed because I needed to catch up on things other than producing these videos, we are back again with a couple of 2-match days. Today we've got Argentina and Holland in the evening, but first of all, Brazil and Croatia. So let's go and watch some football and find some kebabs. No, but actually, before we get on to that, sometimes people ask me, what are you doing in places like this, Mutton? Well, first of all, I'm also producing my normal longer videos, the Mutton Tours videos, to show the food and drink and a little bit of the culture of these places. But the other thing, of course, whilst this is not exactly a holiday trying to shoot 1 or 2 videos a day, my idea of a holiday or a trip abroad is to go somewhere that's way out, culturally different. Don't mind if I have language problems, and let me assure you I have language problems of the highest magnitude here. Hardly anybody speaks English in this town, although it is popular with Turkish tourists. But this is what seeing the world is about, Muttonistas. A holiday for me is not about putting my trotters up on a sun lounger in a Mediterranean island where I can have egg and chips all day, followed by lashings of Carling lager. Well, I'm sure you understand where I'm coming from there. Anyway, back to business. I'm feeling a bit peckish before I even watch the first game, and wandering around the old streets, I've seen somewhere where they make that traditional local thin bread called lahmacun, so I'm going to try one. Hello, can I have a lahmacun?
Lahmacun sabır 5 dakika.
Well, this is as hole in the wall as it comes. They seem to have other bakery items here. Don't know if they make those into pidos or something else, but I've gone for the local speciality. Okay, you can see the man there is kneading the bread and putting copious amounts of minced meat on top. It isn't particularly spicy, and I think it's beef, but they do add a few herbs to it here. And in we go into the oven. Now, I don't know how long it takes to actually cook this, but the way they managed to get the lahmacun off that big wooden stick and back on again, well, I certainly wouldn't be manually dexterous enough to do that. And it takes 20 minutes to actually cook this, so I'm glad I have plenty of time today before today's first game between Brazil and Croatia. So, my lahmacun has arrived. Didn't seem to take 20 minutes, but I was having some conversation with young locals who are probably about to order one as well. Mainly talking about football, of course, but let's pan down to see what the lahmacun actually looks like. And there's the chef, or the owner of the business. And that, Muttonistas, is actually a very good size for a street food item. We have minced beef, I can see some tomato, I've added a little salt and some herbs. And I've no idea exactly how I should eat this, so I'm going to ask. So I think the problem's about to be solved for me. That's going to make it a hell of a lot easier for me. It's a bit like a pizza now. Thank you. Okay, as always, the most important thing, the taste. Oh yeah, that's good. That is really good. Apparently I should fold it. The base is very, very thin and very crispy. Okay, I thought that was rather strong tasting. It is, in fact, lamb, I've just been informed, through my conveyor belt chain of translation, which makes it even better in my opinion. I actually prefer lamb to beef. And that, Muttonistas, is street food in its essence. I'm absolutely loving this, but we've got some football to watch, so I'm going to get on with it and see you in a few ticks. Okay folks, time to add another establishment to my list of unusual places where I've watched football, and I'm now in a Gaziantep. Is it a tea house? Is it a coffee house? But it's certainly a place where gentlemen come to take either beverage and play card games or domino games, or just to talk about the state of life and the state of the union, and maybe even the football. And there is a big screen on there which I've been assured is coming on at 6 o'clock. Wow, what have I just seen? Now, before I go on to the football, the extra time and penalties has kind of changed my plan. I was going to go and bring you actually a non-local dish which I haven't shown you as yet, but instead I'm going to have a quick plate of lamb chops and kofta. And if I feel like it, I might bring you that dish later on if there's a late night place near me. I'm at a place called Iron Cadins in Gaziantep, and it's actually quite cold tonight, so I'm sitting indoors, although there are some sitting outdoors. And they do specialise in lamb here, which is a common theme in Gaziantep restaurants. My kebabs are being grilled in front of my eyes. A grilled pepper to go with it. Don't those lamb chops look juicy, Muttonistas? And this place is just awash with hunks of red meat. I mean, if you like your lamb, you're in the right place here, folks. And, I mean, if the guy's butchering them freshly, then surely they're going to be right on the money here. And a nice big plate of fresh salad. I mean, that does really look very green and vibrant. And, for a pleasant change, it's been dressed. A lot of the salads are just served plain and dry, and I squeeze lemon over them. I think that's just olive oil and lemon juice, but a very nice dressing it makes too. What did we see there, Muttonistas, in the football? Wow, I didn't think Croatia were going to pull that off. I have to say, Brazil did have the better of the play, but Croatia did carry a threat, and they got in behind the Brazilian lines wide a couple of times, and unfortunately the end product wasn't good enough. Brazil, on the other hand, were attacking a lot and seemed to be defending reasonably well. However, no really clear-cut moves were made. And okay, the Croatian keeper had a ton of saves to make, but whilst he played a flawless game, I think, none of the saves were like, wow, that's save of the decade. A lot of good saves, a lot of slightly difficult saves, but nothing that's going to go down in the annals of history. Come extra time, added time in the first half of extra time, Brazil got their breakthrough, and I'm not quite sure who it was because the Turkish commentator couldn't pronounce Croatian names very well. Somebody should have been running with Neymar, and Neymar managed to give the defender the slip and played a very nice 1-2 to make it 1-0. And normally, as I said, there aren't any goals at all in extra time, and if there are goals, then it's usually decisive. But something very rare happened. Croatia got an equaliser. I don't think Casemiro got enough of Modric. He tried to foul him and didn't succeed in doing so. So he was given the slip and managed to get the ball forward for a crossover for a firm but deflected shot to give Croatia the equaliser. Yes, that was lucky, but in a way, you know, these things happen, and Croatia kind of deserved it because they ran on and played gamely all through the game, even though they'd had a gruelling extra time and penalties affair against Japan just a few days ago. And come the penalties, that Croatian keeper, wow, he is an expert on saving penalties. He got close to some of the other penalties. And I have to say, the general standard of penalties in that game was miles higher than the ones I'd seen in other games. Hitting the post isn't great, but it's better than a feeble effort that the goalkeeper saves easily. The Croatians took their penalties very well, sometimes whacking it high and hard down the middle. If the goalkeeper commits, it works. I have no idea who was supposed to take that last Croatian penalty, but I bet you whoever it is relieved, because they must be in a bag of nerves. So Croatia move on, and everybody's favourites, Brazil, are out. And they will play the winners of the match that I'm going to watch soon between the Netherlands and Argentina. But not before I've eaten my kebab. Now, I've gone for the lamb chop kebab. I tried to order some kofta as well, but I think there was a bit of a language misunderstanding. I should have typed it into the phone. I wanted ayran and water, and I've got water, but never mind that. Let's see how these lamb chops taste, because sometimes halal lamb chops are basically accused of being bloodless and tasty. I disagree. Nicely salted and seasoned, and I don't know if they're marinated or anything. I don't think so. I think they're just cooked with a bit of salt and a few herbs. But they are delicious, Muttonistas. Big chilli that was described as not spicy. Yeah, It's not spicy. Two types of bread as well. One seemed herbal. I think it's either parsley or basil. I guess basil. But anyway, here's another piece. I don't know what this is. Is it sumac and chili? Yeah, I thought it was just sumac at first, but something's got a hold of my tongue and burnt it. Oh well, that's the way we like it. Anyway, I don't think my kofta's going to come. I'd better get on with this because I don't want to miss the start of the next match. Well, that was splendid and just hit the spot. Quick cup of tea to finish. But what I would say is that it's a pity that this and other restaurants don't seem to be that busy at the moment. I'm hoping that means it's because in the summer season they're absolutely heaving, but one wonders why they'd stay open all year. And the gentleman grilling the kebabs told me he was from Syria. I bet you they make a nice kebab down there as well, but from what I've seen, everything has been mangled and destroyed. Anyway, let's head off. I am waffling far too much, Muttonistas, and the match is going to start in about 20 minutes' time. And what about that for the second game, Muttonistas? 2 games going to penalties. I have to say, halfway through that second game, in fact, for most of that second game between Argentina and Netherlands, I thought I was going to have to report on an absolute shocker of a game. A really bitty, scrappy, scruffy game. That's what it was for the most part, I have to say. And Argentina looked as if they were just going to grind their way through. Great assist by Messi. And then a really silly, rash challenge in the box when the attacker was going nowhere. 2-0 looked like the end of it, and for the first time in this tournament there was a comeback, an incredible comeback by the Netherlands, and it all came about from 2 set pieces. The first one was just a well-delivered ball, although I'm not sure about the marking. The second one, what on earth was Otamendi doing committing that foul in the last seconds of the game? And boy was he punished, although the Argentine defence went to sleep from what was admittedly a very, very clever, well-worked free kick. And then in extra time, Argentina did have the better of that as well, hit the post right at the death. But when all those things happen, it's as if the stars have aligned to give the Netherlands a fairly jammy win. But the hero was Emi Martinez, keeping goal for none other than Aston Villa, who produced 2 really good saves at the end. Those were really good saves. The penalties were not terrible. OK, they're not perfect, because you should always score with a perfect penalty. But even then it got sweaty after 3 consecutive Dutch penalties scored and an Argentine miss. But Lauro Martinez put the last one away with aplomb to set up a semi-final with Croatia. I thought the first game was miles better, and I think Argentina will have a hard time against Croatia. I do think now the stronger teams are left in the bottom half of the draw. I don't think Argentina are a great team. They just have this great player with a reasonable but not world-class surrounding cast. If I had to bet, I'd bet on a team from the bottom half of the draw winning this, but hey, you never know what happens in international football. Anything can happen in these games. Especially when many of the players, they're brought up from, shall we say, fairly unassuming clubs and it's all patched together at the last moment. Which leads me on to tomorrow. I mean, England's team, I suppose, is patched together, but generally from players at the top clubs. The problem is we don't have a superstar like a Messi or an Mbappe. So we have nobody who can really make things happen in a moment of need. We haven't beaten a top team for a long, long time, other than a Germany team who was on the way down at the Euros, and we had home advantage then. So still, I don't think it's hopeless. I do think we have a chance, but we're going to have to play the game of our lives to get past that French team. I don't think we're too far behind them in terms of quality and individual skills. They've just got that little bit more. I'm not going to use that French phrase this time, though. I will, of course, be here with my reaction to the big day tomorrow, keeping my fingers crossed. Come on, England. And that was your Daily Kebab.